Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. As usual, it's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, the very first story that I came across this morning when I got up about an hour and a half ago is a sad story. I didn't even look any further. I knew this was the story that I wanted to talk about this morning. And it's somebody that I have an awful lot in common with. It's stories about Matthew Perry. If you don't know this already, Matthew Perry from Freinds has passed away at 54 years old. This happened Saturday morning. Today is Sunday. It happened about 24 hours ago, Pacific time, Saturday morning, early morning. Apparently, this is what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened, what they know so far. I'm going to tell you what I share in common with this guy. I'm going to hold back on my opinions for the most part. I just have some observations, some things I have in common with him, and it's a sad story. It really is. I see more and more as I get older. I see people my age or younger passing away, and even if it's not an untimely death, which there's no, this would be untimely, I guess. No matter how you looked at it, it's untimely. But there was no drugs or foul play found at the scene. And I'm going to tell you what happened, and just some things I had in common with him. And I'm going to hold back on my opinions for the most part. Okay, Matthew Perry. He came home early yesterday morning, Pacific time, from playing pickleball. Okay, I was gonna look this up, but I just really don't care what pickleball is. I hate that name. I keep seeing it over and over again. And apparently Matthew Perry was so into pickleball, he had a pickleball court set up in his residence, in Pacific Palisades, I think is where he lived in Los Angeles. Anyway, he came home from a 2-hour game of pickleball early yesterday morning, and he sent his assistant out for a couple hours. His assistant came back home in the AM yesterday morning and found him unresponsive in the hot tub, and it appears that he passed away from drowning in his hot tub. Now here's something, I'll have the links to this down below. These are two TMZ reports down below. Just 6 days ago, his very last Instagram post, I'll have the link to that too, I got the Instagram post down below, was from that very hot tub. He was in the hot tub, and then at night, and he posted, his last Instagram post was where he passed away yesterday. And it says something along the lines of, it feels so good to sit in the warm water. I'm the Mat Man. Kind of like he's joking around. He feels so good, like I'm Batman, I'm Batman. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so he passed away. There was no drugs, there's no foul play found at the scene. He has a history of fighting drug addiction, just like I do. And he was addicted. It's kind of ironic because just yesterday, I think it was yesterday's video, I talked about my addiction to Vicodin and other painkillers, but the doctor prescribed me Vicodin for years, and my addiction to that. And Matthew Perry had a problem with Vicodin too. I told you guys yesterday that I would take a whole 20 pills, extra strength, I think it was 750 milligrams. I take all 20 within 24 hours. As soon as I got the bottle, I take 3, I inhale 2 right off the bat, and then I take the other 15 that day. And it was gone. The whole bottle was gone in less than 24 hours. And then I would proceed to, this is from 2 back surgeries I had. And I was an addict before that. I was a cocaine addict. But then I became cross-addicted and it became a worse addiction, the addiction to painkillers and opiates. But anyway, here's some of his history. He appeared to be clean and sober for the last year, but the year before that, about 2 years ago, when they had the Freinds reunion show, he appeared to be unwell. He appeared to be slurring his words, and fans were worried about him. This was about 2 years ago. I guess he had a lot of relapses. I could have swore I saw somewhere that he was in and out of detoxes like a couple dozen times. I'm not sure if that's correct, though. I'll have a clip down below where he did an interview with Diane Sawyer. and this is just about a year ago, and he appears clean and sober, but he's very upset in the video. He's watching a clip of himself on Friends, and he says he feels sorry for the guy that was on Friends. He still seems very conflicted in this interview from Diane Sawyer a year ago. Here's another thing. There's another clip. There's another interview down below from TMZ, where he was coming out of this is 6 days ago too. The same day that he posted the Instagram post from the hot tub. He was leaving a restaurant. I think it's called the Apple Tub, the Apple Barrel, the Apple Tub in Los Angeles. And he was with a friend, and I was kind of shocked the way he looked. He's extreme. He's had a battle with being overweight, and that's another thing that I've talked about on this channel. I have so much in common with this guy. You know, I was considered kind of the clown when I was younger, the life of the party. I've battled weight. I'm down. At the most, I was almost 300 pounds. Now I'm about 190, 195. But in this picture, he looks, the way he looks to me is just not the way I usually am used to seeing, not the way I would look in public today, being clean and sober. He's just in a t-shirt and sweatpants, and he's got to be about 300 pounds in this picture, and his hair is just all over the place. And like I said, I really want to withhold. I'm already starting with the opinions here. In my own personal case, being clean and sober, I'm very cognizant of how I look out in public now because of my past addiction. How I look, that I look neat and clean and sober and with it. Because people were used to seeing me the other way, so I pay a lot of close attention to that, and maybe he doesn't. It's not to say. There's another thing too. I actually gained weight when I first went into recovery. I was overweight when I was in addiction, but I think I was even more overweight when I first got clean and sober. A lot of people gain weight. If you're in recovery, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of people gain weight when they first get into recovery. I saw this all over the place at the NA groups I went to, at the methadone clinic I went to, when people first get clean and sober. With me, this is what happened. I started, when I first got clean and sober, going to the methadone clinic. I was going there every day. Later on, I got privileges and take-home bottles, and I would only go there twice a month. When I first started going there for the first 6 months, the first year, I was going there every day. And I started rewarding myself, because I actually had money. It was unusual for me to have money. And on the way home, I would stop at McDonald's from the methadone clinic every day. And I would order a steak, egg, and cheese sandwich on a bagel, 2 home fries, 3 chocolate chip cookies, a large iced coffee. I think that was it for that. That was just for the breakfast meal. That was about 15 to 16, 1,700 calories right there. And that was every single day. If you ever looked at those steak, egg, and cheese bagels, they are just dripping with grease and fat, and I used to love it. And I ate those, like I said, I ate those every day. Then I'd come home and read the newspaper. I was very inactive at first. I do a little walking, and then one day I was at the clinic. This I still remember this crystal clear. And one of the counselors walked by me, and my stomach had grown so big that my stomach was hanging out the bottom of my shirt, if you could imagine that. And the counselor walked by me, and he patted my stomach, and he goes, putting on some weight there, Daryl. And right there and then, I realized how obvious it was to other people. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I really looked at myself in the mirror, and I just made my mind up to do something about it. I told myself, if I can quit heroin and cocaine, I certainly can do that. I can do anything I set my mind to. And that's the mindset I've had ever since then. Like I said, I had all my teeth replaced after that. I've gone on to start my painting business, this YouTube channel, and it's just I've told myself that if I can quit those 2 things, or quit addiction, I can do anything. And that's the mindset I've kept. Okay, like I said, this is my, like I said, I really want to hold back on my opinions here, but I'm 57, almost 58 years old, and I'm in good shape. I'm in better shape than Matthew Perry was. I'm not bragging or anything, but I can't imagine just being, in my shape, the shape that I am right now. 4 years older than Matthew Perry, just falling asleep in a hot tub. This is a big freaking hot tub. It's like the size of a swimming pool, it looks like in these pictures. So I don't know. Most people, even if you're really tired after 2 hours of pickleball, once it's the human nature, it's human reaction. Our reaction once our face goes underwater. The same thing happened to Aaron Carter here, and it turns out he had been using some substances. So, like I said, I to be honest, I really have my doubts that he was clean and sober by the way he looks and the way he passed, because I just don't see how a healthy 54-year-old would just sink underwater, even no matter how tired he was. This reminds me of back when I was using, when I first really got addicted. I was getting morphine from a friend. That's what friends do for you when you're an addict. I was buying 200 milligram morphine tablets. I don't think they even make these anymore. This girl had got them from her grandmother. She lived with her grandmother. Her grandmother passed away from cancer. This is the only thing they would only prescribe these to terminal cancer patients. These 200 milligram morphine. And I had been partying with this girl, and she told me how she had a whole big full bottle of these morphine tablets. And I talked her into fronting me 10 of them. She was selling them for like $20 a piece. I never paid her for those. I took those home, and they were long-term release, meaning they had a coating on them. It's very important that you don't take the coating off these, because then the whole 200 milligrams hits you at once, and it could kill you. And that's exactly what I would do. I took one of these every day. That's all. And when I took one of these, I took one of them for 10 days. And after those 10 days, I was full-blown physically addicted. From that point on, I was physically totally addicted to opiates. I would get deathly sick. All the diarrhea, throwing up, fidgety, restless legs, all that stuff. After those 10 days, I was in. There was no way. It reminds me of the Pink Floyd song. Once you're in, there's no way out of here. Once you're in for good. That's how I felt. I just got goosebumps talking about that. And these things were so strong. It's a miracle. Looking back, it's a miracle that I didn't OD. I remember, this is what I thought of when I saw Matthew Perry's story here. I remember being in my kitchen after I took one of these pills, and it had been all day long. I was still I would nod out. I'd nod out driving. I'd nod out while I was walking. I remember one time when somebody grabbed me and shook me because they thought I was going to walk into the guardrails when I was walking in a shopping center. I guess I had nodded off while I was actually walking down the sidewalk. And somebody grabbed me and said I was going to walk off the side of the bank and by the guardrails and go down the bank because I had nodded off while I was still walking. And I was in my kitchen, and I was wearing a bathrobe and the kind of fuzzy slippers, if you could imagine that. And I was messing around with a candle. I had a candle. This is a dangerous thing. I used to mess around with candles. I had all candles, when I was nodding out back on these morphine and Vicodin. And, it's just as dangerous as somebody sitting in a hot tub. And I was in the kitchen, and I was trying to pour some of the wax out of a lit candle. And I was trying to pour it into a container to take the top of the extra wax off, the melted wax. And the melted wax poured out and missed the container and went on my fuzzy slippers. But it stayed lighted. It went down, the wax fell lit, flaming lit pieces of wax onto my slippers. And I stood there, all high as hell, looking down at my slippers, on fire, as I'm standing in the kitchen, and I was just staring at my feet with flames like this high coming off my slippers. And then I all of a sudden I kind of realized what was going on, and I started stamping out the flames. And I still look back and I still remember this, what could have actually happened, if those flames had hit my bathrobe and, I'd gone up in flames. This also reminds me, one of the reasons I got clean and sober, back when I was using for 2.5 decades, there was 2 big reasons when I was using that I wanted to get clean. 2 big reasons. And one reminds me of Matthew Perry. The first one, I told the doctors and the counselors this when I used to talk to them back when I was in different detox and rehabs. I told them this, that the most important thing to me was I wanted to spend time, especially with my mother, because I lost my dad when I was 9. I wanted to spend time with my mother while she was still here on this earth, and my family, my sister, my mother. I wanted to spend time with them clean and sober, and enjoy them, while they're still here. And that was one of the most, believe it or not, and the doctor he was kind of amazed that I was so cognizant that I really wanted this. Like I said, I was saying this while I was using. It was one of the, and now I've had the chance to do that. And it's one of the most gratifying things, seeing this, going out with my mother every single week, buying her coffee and donuts, sitting down at Dunkin' Donuts for like 2 hours every week and just talking with her and seeing the smile on her face. It's just the best part of being clean and sober. I just got goosebumps again. And the other thing was this. When I was using back in those 2.5 decades, the last thing I wanted was to pass away and have them write on my death report that I had drugs in my system. I wanted to pass away clean and sober. When I pass away, I wanted to be clean and sober. Those were the two things. I wanted to spend time with my family and enjoy them clean and sober. And when I do pass away, I want to pass away clean. I want to leave this earth, this life clean, with a clean mind and body. I just got goosebumps again. That's what reminds me of Matthew Perry. I really hope. I mean, it's sad. It's an untimely death, and it's sad no matter how you look at it. But I do hope that he passed clean and sober. I hope he did. All right, I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Sunday.